Good evening, everyone. My name is Colin Bonini, and I am the governor of the great state of Kansas and your host of Power Live. Today, we will continue to explore the ins and outs of the power world from financial takeovers to political struggles. Power Live will show you the true power of information. Alright, everyone, so today is a very special day in Power Live. Some big news and big rumors have happened over the past couple days, and we are going to silence all of them right now, and we're going to get to the bottom of it all. So today we're going to have an interview with a member of GOP leadership and the current Vice President of the United States, Don Pablo, to see if we can get to the bottom of what the true story is of the rumored GOP civil war. What caused it? What's happening now? We're going to find that out. However, I'm going to now pass the microphone over to the person who will be conducting the interview, and that is Gabe Newell, politician of the Netherlands and former member of the NUP. He is going to be conducting the interview today, and I'm going to take more of a backseat and let him do his thing. Gabe, if you just want to introduce yourself to everyone.
Yep. Hello, I'm Gabe from the Netherlands. I'm supposed to be the Minister of Defense, but right now I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I'm just doing the interview today.
All right, and then I am now bringing in Don Pablo, who is the Vice President of the United States and the one who's going to be interviewed. So like I said, I'm going to take a bit of a backseat here. Gabe, you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right. Before we start, for those of us who don't know, who was Heydrich to the party and what was his role in it? Since most of us don't really know who he was.
Well, literally speaking, he was the chairman for a while, all the way up until, I'd say, Power 5, majority of this power as well. So he represented, the leadership portion of the party. He also gave us some pretty good guidance along the way. And just he contributed pretty well to party cohesion overall. So that for me is how he contributed to the party. Specifically, this iteration, he was banned early on by Ramsad. So other than that, I really don't know much else that he did besides that.
All right. So I guess I'll let you take it away with your explanation as to what went on.
Well, specifically, what do you want to know? I mean, you represent the people that do want to know. I mean, you posed the question in Power Live Topics, so.
Okay. So
tell
how
me
did
what you
all
want
of
to
this
know.
current drama start?
I'll say what I'll start off with saying is there were mistakes that were made, not only by myself but by Heydrich, as well as several other members of leadership. What we did, we convinced Heydrich, among other things, that it would probably be best if he passed server ownership to Trojan or Adrian specifically. I'm not sure which one we came to. He did so, and it kind of devolved from there. Unfortunately, there was some other things that went on, which ended up him, obviously, to everybody's current knowledge, him being banned from the server. We've since rectified those mistakes. However, Heydrich was and is not willing to come back based on some things that I presented to him that he needed to do. I'm not going to specifically go in. Being said, regardless of any ill will or anything that did or did not happen within those conversations or actions, I guess you could say, I do appreciate, and I think I can speak confidently for the rest of leadership. I do appreciate everything he's done for the party. He's definitely brought us to a place that I'm not sure we'd be at today. without his leadership and guidance throughout this time. So, I mean, I think I can speak for everybody that we do appreciate all of his contributions up until this point. But going forward, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the GOP, the establishment GOP, and Heydrich are going to be going in two different directions unless there's some significant changes made. Unfortunately, I doubt those changes will be made, so I'm not sure that he will be coming back in a leadership capacity. But I mean, the door, as I'm concerned, or myself and others are concerned, is always open. But like I said, I doubt that will happen.
All right. One question that we had from the viewers was, what was the rationale behind allowing Heydrich to remain within the party for this long, given the past that he's had within the party?
Sure. Yeah, that's a valid question. In my opinion, I mean, there were some other people that didn't agree, specifically in leadership, but in my opinion, and I would say the majority of the leaders' opinions, he was definitely warranted in staying around. I will state for the record that there are some allegations that have been made against him that are markedly false, specifically those made by the NUP and Dems. I'm not going to go into specifics exactly what was false and what is or is not, but there are some false things going around that are misleading, to say the least. But the reason we kept him around, the quote for so long, I mentioned earlier, party cohesion. He was a major driving force in keeping a lot of the people around, and he was a good leader. He had very good foresight, in seeing how things played out in the future, and listening to his subordinates whenever they do or did voice up and say, hey, this needs to be done, or we need to do this or that. But overall, I mean, he was a great leader and was able to help us, further our agenda. I mean, as you can see, I mean, I'll say that we've pretty much dominated without question this iteration of power. It appears that it's coming to, I don't want to say it's coming to a close, but it's becoming quite a meme at this point. The alts are getting pretty rampant. If you go look at New York, I don't know if Colin's able to pull this up, but if you go look at the New York governor election, pretty much says everything right there that's going on across the United States, at least speaking in power-wise. There's just a bunch of people memeing, with alts or whatever, and they're just fucking shit up. And where's Rumsod? I'll leave that to ask yourself. But I think this iteration of power has been pretty fun, pretty clinching at times. We finally got the cabinet passed, and he definitely assisted us in providing a direction to assist us with that. So, I mean, I honestly don't know if we would have been able to do it without him this iteration, but I certainly think we could have. But I mean, I don't discount anything he's done, and like I said, I do appreciate everything he has done for us in the past. And he was definitely a very, very important person and partner in getting us to where we are.
All right. Another question is, who's filling Heydrich's role now? This is kind of a confusing point for most people to grasp. Heydrich, he's traditionally retained the eternal leader role. I mean, Ed has been chair for the entirety of this iteration at this point. I mean, I'd say he's done very well considering the circumstances that at one point we were, a multi-front war. We had to deal with the obstructionist NUP as well as the Dems at, the majority of it. So, I mean, the leadership that is here, which to my knowledge, we haven't lost anybody yet. I think it's going to be rather consistent. Ed plans on staying chair, and I mean, after that, I mean, it would kind of devolve from who wants who to be in, chair, but I don't foresee Ed stepping down anytime soon. So, I mean, my answer to that would be, we have the chair as it is. I believe Ed is still server owner at this point. So I mean, I don't feel like there's a role to fill, if you get what I mean. I think we're kind of moving forward.
All right. There have been a lot of rumors going on around this. About how fractured the leadership got. Were those exaggerated, or was there some truth to them, or what?
What do you be a little bit more specific?
That it became a fractured leadership, that people were taking sides and people were threatening to leave due to certain circumstances that happened.
Yeah, I mean, that happened for sure. I'm not going to specifically say how divided it was, but I mean, I can say pretty confidently that we're united in the current direction that we're going. However funny that may be to me, I'm not sure how funny it is to others. But I would say we were somewhat fractured, but after the events that unfolded today and as of the last 36 hours, I think we're pretty confident in the direction we're going. So currently, as it stands, the leadership is pretty united on that front.
Right. You mentioned the leadership being united, but united behind what response to this?
Response. What response are you referring to?
Just some of the accusations of what happened. I'm not asking you to get into very specific details. Just
sure.
Like,
I would say that there was a series of things where, when I don't know who has and hasn't seen the announcement, but I mean, there's spies everywhere. I mean, Dems have spies in here, NUP does as well. So, I mean, I would assume everybody's seen the announcement by now, but I would say that Trajan's announcement wasn't as accurate as I would have liked. But with that being said, there was a conversation that was had with Heydrich, and he did not agree with what we viewed as necessary steps for everybody to reunite. And since he did not, agree or see the line of thought that we thought was best, that's when we decided, it's time to move forward. And like I said, I mean, we're pretty united in the direction that we're going right now. And I have full confidence in, Ed, Alex, Adrian, Pot, Ivan, whoever else, Kaiser, Trajan to a lesser degree, even though he spurred out a little bit. But I mean, I still have confidence. So unfortunately, I'm not going to go into the specifics about what we did or did not talk about. But I will say that the majority of the things that you've heard regarding Heydrich are misleading and or false.
Regarding Heydrich in this instance of sequence of events that happened, or just previously?
In general, I would say. In general, there have been many things that have been said about Heydrich. I don't know exactly everything that he has or hasn't done, so I can't say on a I can't give you a swath or a paintbrush and say he did or did not do anything that was alleged. But I can say that the majority of things that were alleged against him were false, or there were other circumstances that played along with that. So that's kind of where I leave that.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions I have.
Again, I would just like to thank Gabe Newell for his interview. And Don, I just have two final questions before we cut this segment off. And those two questions are: number one, what is the GOP's direction as of right now? And two, in regards to that direction, do you have any final words you'd like to say to the other parties, to the rest of the world, anything like that?
Well, I guess I'll start off with the new direction. The new direction for us, we are going to have fun while we can. I fully expect us to win the presidency, regardless of how many exploited millions of dollars may or may not have been put into the NUP war chest. I still fully expect us to go through that, go through with winning this iteration of the presidency. I continually expect us to continually dominate in that regard. But going forward, I mean, it should just be business as usual in the GOP. There should not be much drama per se. I don't foresee anybody else, quote, leaving, quote, or any more divisiveness. And I mean, to a message to the other parties, I mean, we're going to carry on negotiations or, relations, negotiations, however you want to put it, as normal. I was sent I had the opportunity to see a request from the NUP that was quite laughable, in my opinion. And I don't know. I don't even know how they would go about that. But if there's something that the other parties would like to talk about or negotiate or have relations with, I mean, feel free to contact one of the officers or whatever, senior officers that is, or myself. So we will we'll continue in that regard. And then what was your other question?
It was just like, do you have anything final to say? Any kind of like closing statement?
I would just for my closing statement, I would reiterate, to Heydrich specifically. I don't know if he's watching, nor do I care. Everybody here does appreciate his contributions. There's a lot of people that would request that, he be less impulsive in his decisions. And, if he can do that, then I think he would have a much easier time in power and in the GOP going forward. So with that, I appreciate your time bringing me on and allowing me to talk to you guys about what's going on.
Thank you again, Mr. Vice President, and thank you, Gabe, as well, for conducting quite an informative interview. And I hope that segment was able to clear up a little bit of some of the rumors that everyone has been hearing. I have received many PMs asking me about this, quote, GOP civil war that's going on, and I hope that right there was able to clear things up for you. If anyone has any further questions about the GOP civil war, feel free to PM Don Pablo, or actually, yeah, feel free to PM Don Pablo, and he will try to answer them as best as he can. But that now brings us to the end of this little mini episode of Power Live. Join us next time as we continue to explore the true power of information. Have a great night, everybody.